Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today we're taking you into a story that, well, when it broke, it just swept through its community like wildfire. Dominating conversations, headlines. It became that kind of trending news everyone just couldn't stop talking about.
Absolutely. One of those stories.
We're venturing into what seems like a pretty ordinary small town in Telangana, India, a place where this sort of mundane mask of daily life was just ripped away.
Yeah.
Revealing a crime so extraordinary, so shocking, it sent ripples of disbelief far beyond its borders.
It really did.
This isn't just a tale. It's like this intricate tapestry woven with deceit, obsession, betrayal, all spiraling into a truly horrifying outcome. Our mission today is to unpack every layer, every twist, and every calculated decision that led to this devastating tragedy.
And what's truly compelling here, I think, is how such profound darkness can emerge from the most unassuming, everyday settings.
Right.
We're going to explore not just what happened in this quiet corner of the world, but really why it matters.
Yeah, the why.
What it reveals about, well, the very core of human nature, and how quickly ordinary lives can become entangled in something that feels like it's straight out of a thriller. We'll try and connect this to the bigger picture for you, encouraging you to consider the surprising and often, frankly, unsettling facts embedded within this deeply disturbing account.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Yeah. Let's rewind to where it all began. Picture a local bank.
Okay.
The kind of unremarkable institution you'd find in any small town across India, really.
Sure. Familiar.
This seemingly innocuous place became the kind of unsuspecting stage for the genesis of this entire tragedy.
Oh, right.
Our story starts with a 50-year-old woman working as a sweeper. Seems like an almost invisible figure in the daily operations of the bank.
Often the case.
Yet she found herself in a clandestine relationship with the bank's 35-year-old manager. And he was, a man of authority, someone generally looked up to in the community.
Right, and married.
And critically, yes, a married man. Their affair was a closely guarded secret, a world built entirely for themselves, away from the watchful eyes of their small town.
Yeah.
It feels at first glance like a familiar story, forbidden romance, that kind of thing.
On the surface, maybe. But if we really, delve into the early stages of this relationship, a chilling detail emerges.
Oh.
Yeah, it reveals this capacity for ruthlessness from the very outset.
Yeah.
This wasn't just a simple affair, like you said.
Okay.
It was tainted by a willingness to cross moral boundaries almost immediately, even as their illicit bond was just forming in their shared desire to be together. The mother and the manager actually entertained the darkest of thoughts.
You mean?
They actively discussed and planned the elimination of the manager's wife.
Wow. Early on.
Very early on.
Yeah.
Now, this initial contemplation of murder, though they didn't act on it then, it wasn't just idle fantasy.
Right. It shows something.
Exactly. It highlights a disturbing psychological leap how easily individuals, consumed by illicit desire, can rationalize extreme violence. It shows this pre-existing capacity for cold calculation.
Chilling.
And a profound disregard for human life that just needed the right opportunity, maybe, to surface. It really sets a sinister tone, signaling their relationship wasn't just an emotional betrayal, but one rooted in this shared, dangerous moral vacancy.
And then, life often does this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It threw an unexpected and incredibly cruel twist into their carefully guarded secret. Here's where the plot thickens in a truly heartbreaking and unforeseen way.
Okay.
The mother fell seriously ill, had to take an extended leave of absence from her job at the bank.
Right.
And in what seemed like a simple familial act, she asked her 23-year-old daughter to step in, fill her shoes at the bank while she recovered. Yeah. The daughter, young, maybe naive to the full extent of her mother's secret life, willingly stepped into the very world her mother and the manager had so meticulously built.
Wow.
This innocent decision, made out of necessity, ironically, just opened the door for the love affair to take a sharp, devastating turn.
Indeed. The manager, this is a man who had already proven his willingness to betray his marriage vows.
Yeah.
Now showed an even more callous disregard for fidelity by shifting his affections to the daughter.
To the daughter.
A new romance, even more scandalous and just layered with betrayal, blossomed right there within the seemingly sterile walls of the bank.
So many levels of betrayal.
Exactly. This wasn't merely a simple change of heart. It was this profound, cascading series of betrayals. First, the manager betraying the mother,
Right, discarding her.
discarding their shared history, their dangerous secrets, for a new, younger object of affection. But even more profoundly, perhaps, it was the daughter betraying her own mother.
Awful.
A rupture within the closest of family bonds, setting in motion a chain of events that would, inevitably lead to murder. This tragic turn really illustrates the profound and often violent ripple effects when foundational trust, especially within a family, is just utterly dismantled.
Yeah.
It's a stark reminder that intimate betrayals, particularly when driven by self-interest, can ignite a chain reaction leading to catastrophic and irreversible outcomes. That insidious nature of unresolved conflict, combined with, a lack of moral compass,
Yeah.
it was just a ticking time bomb.
You can only begin to imagine the potent cocktail of emotions that must have consumed the mother when she recovered and came back to work.
Oh, absolutely.
Heartbreak, searing jealousy, just incandescent anger.
Yeah.
And a desperate, almost primal instinct to protect her child, even from the very man she'd once conspired with.
Yeah.
She was confronted with this brutal public reality. Her own flesh and blood had supplanted her in the affections of the man she loved.
The same man.
The same man who had once plotted with her to remove his wife from the picture now had eyes only for her own daughter.
It's almost Shakespearean in its tragedy.
It really is. So in a desperate, maybe misguided attempt to sever the ties between her daughter and the manager, the mother did what many parents in her situation might do.
Right. Try to fix it.
She scrambled to arrange a marriage for her daughter.
Ah, okay.
The chosen groom was a young man named Tejeswar, an innocent, unsuspecting party about to be unwittingly cast into the final, horrifying act of this tragic drama.
And here lies a truly tragic irony and perhaps one of the most, astonishing details of this entire case.
What's that?
Despite warnings from his own family about his new bride's continued suspicious association with the bank manager.
So people thought.
People saw it or suspected it. But Tejeswar, like many young men deeply in love, was tragically blinded by his affection for the daughter.
Love's blind.
Completely. He envisioned a future with her, a life of happiness, dismissing the red flags. They were married in February, a union that was supposed to be a new beginning, a symbol of commitment.
But wasn't.
But was, in chilling reality, a complete sham. And what's truly fascinating here, and perhaps the most undeniable evidence of the depths of their deception, is the sheer audacity and the digital footprint. Oh, yeah. The marriage did absolutely nothing to quell the illicit affair. In fact, it seemed to intensify.
Really?
In the mere 100 days following her wedding, the daughter and the manager exchanged over 2,000 video calls.
2,000. In 100 days.
1,000 video calls. Think about that. That's like 20 calls a day.
Obsessive.
Utterly obsessive. They weren't just speaking on her wedding day. They were maintaining this constant, almost feverish connection.
Wow.
This astonishing frequency isn't just a sign of intense obsession. It's a powerful testament to that double-edged sword of digital communication.
Oh, it enables it. But
It also builds an irrefutable digital breadcrumb trail. It shows how even the most sophisticated plots in our hyper-connected world can be undone by their own, digital exhaust. For the daughter, this marriage was clearly just a temporary inconvenience, a hurdle to overcome.
a means to an end.
Exactly. For Tejeswar, tragically, it was quite literally a death sentence, sealed by this relentless stream of digital communication.
So what does this all mean when you pull back the curtain on these shocking revelations? It means the trio, the mother, the daughter, and the manager, they crossed a line.
Big one.
Moved from just, thinking about violence to a cold, calculated decision to commit murder.
Right. The manager, now fully enmeshed with the daughter, made his intentions unequivocally clear to the mother. Their affair was definitively over.
Done. Finished.
He was in love with her daughter, and he would not be swayed. This final, brutal rejection, it became the spark that ignited the powder keg.
Uniting them.
Uniting them in their twisted objective. They hatched a plan, born of desperation, obsession, and just a chilling lack of conscience. They decided the only way for the daughter and the manager to truly be together
Was to get rid of Tejeswar.
was to eliminate the one innocent person who stood in their way, Tejeswar, the new husband.
Oh.
And the decision to commit murder, it was made with this chilling, almost surgical precision that's really hard to comprehend. And zooming out for a second, it's worth noting, perhaps, the prevailing societal taboo of divorce in their community.
Right, that probably played a role.
It might have. where a husband's death was sometimes seen, tragically, as a more acceptable, if awful, end to a marriage than divorce.
Which is a twisted logic in itself.
Completely twisted. It highlights how cultural pressures, when combined with desperate self-interest, can warp moral compasses, making the unimaginable seem like the only viable solution.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it was their own selfish desires that drove them. The manager, acting as the undisputed mastermind, then shamelessly abused his position of power at the bank.
How so?
He identified 3 poor, desperate farmers who had come to the bank seeking loans, men who were vulnerable, trapped in their own circumstances.
Targets.
Easy targets, easily swayed by the promise of salvation. He offered them life-changing money, a sum that would alleviate their poverty, in exchange for taking a life.
And they agreed.
The farmers, tragically, agreed. They became his hired assassins. And the daughter, she wasn't just passive. No, she was a truly active and willing participant in the plot against her own husband. She played a crucial role.
What did she do?
She placed a GPS tracker on Tejeswar's bike.
Oh my God. Using modern tech for this.
Using a modern tool of surveillance for the most sinister purposes, with that tracker in place that could monitor his every move, wait for the opportune moment to strike. It just demonstrates how easily desperate circumstances can be exploited, and how even mundane modern tools can be twisted for, well, evil.
That opportune moment, that horrifying culmination of their evil design, it came on June 17th, just one short month after the wedding.
So quick.
Just a truly gut-wrenching detail. A life brutally cut short, simply for falling in love with the wrong person. Tejeswar, completely unaware of the deadly net that had been cast around him, was ambushed. He was forcibly dragged into a car. You could only imagine the terror.
Unthinkable.
Driven to a remote, desolate location. And there, in that secluded spot, his throat was slit. A horrific act of violence.
Brutal.
And his body was unceremoniously dumped into a canal. A final, brutal attempt to erase his existence. He was just a pure victim, caught in this web of deceit, a pawn in a game he was never meant to play.
Awful.
His only crime was to have fallen for a woman whose heart and those of her accomplices harbored such unimaginable darkness.
And for a brief time, it seemed like the crime might actually go unsolved.
Right, body in the canal.
Exactly. Tejeswar's body remained hidden in the murky waters, defying immediate discovery. But fate, in its own way, often intervenes.
Wow.
A distinct tattoo on his body ultimately led to a positive identification when he was finally discovered.
Oh.
The police investigation began in earnest, and it didn't take long for the horrifying web of deceit to unravel.
And the calls played a part.
Oh, massively. What's truly striking here, and just a powerful testament to accountability in our digital age, is how those thousands of video calls.
The 2,000 calls.
Those 2,000 calls between the daughter and the manager served as an irrefutable digital trail, an electronic breadcrumb path that led the police directly to them.
Couldn't deny it.
The sheer volume, the obsessive nature of these calls, it made their alibis just crumble. As the investigation meticulously proceeded, piecing together phone records, witness statements, the recovered GPS data,
it all came together.
The full, shocking extent of the conspiracy was revealed. The manager as the cold, calculating mastermind, the daughter as his willing and active accomplice, and the mother as a crucial driving force in the tragic drama.
Wow.
This case powerfully illustrates how even the most cunning, seemingly isolated plans, especially in our increasingly digital world, ultimately leave a trail that justice can and will follow, often through the very technologies designed for connection.
You've just been on a deep dive with us into a story that's as chilling as it is complex, a narrative that really gripped a community, much like, a national trending news story that just refuses to fade from memory.
It had that quality, didn't it?
It really did. This Telangana tragedy, a story of obsession, profound betrayal, and ruthless murder, it truly sent shockwaves through its community. The aftermath is just a desolate landscape of ruined lives.
Completely.
An innocent man dead, his family left to grieve a senseless, brutal loss, a mother and daughter, once bound by blood and family, now inextricably bound by this dark secret, facing the dire consequences, and a bank manager, a man once held in high standing, exposed as a manipulative and ruthless killer. Even the 3 farmers, driven by poverty, their lives are forever tainted by the blood on their hands.
It's a stark and profoundly disturbing exploration, really, of the darker side of human nature. A chilling testament to the destructive power of unchecked obsession and the terrifying ease with which some individuals can just cast aside all morality in the relentless pursuit of their own selfish desires. It's a tragedy that played out in an ordinary town, a chilling reminder that the seeds of violence can be sown in the most unexpected places, often festering beneath a veneer of normalcy.
Right under our noses sometimes.
Exactly. And it leaves us with a haunting question, doesn't it? One that resonates long after the details of this case have settled. What hidden desires and dark secrets lie beneath the surface of the lives we see every day, perhaps even in the people we least suspect?
Sobering thought.
It's a question that, as this case tragically illustrates, can be more terrifying than we can ever imagine, and certainly something to mull over long after our conversation ends.